Hey teachers, welcome back. This is the Anime Me gift tags, poems, and portraits for Easter and Spring edition. You will find both, so you don't have to worry if somebody doesn't celebrate Easter, that's fine. I'm going to just take you through your prep guide so you know what you will need to set up this activity for your students to turn themselves into anime and spring/Easter themed characters. Okay, so page 1, it is basically your About Me section. So it's got my terms of use, it also has a link to my store, and it's got my contact information in case you need to get hold of me, as well as how to use this resource and how to find me on social media. If you have questions, please reach out. Or if I'm missing a hairstyle, reach out. This is my Christmas edition. Ignore that. But basically, same thing in yours, but the Easter edition, it's what's included, and it will go through all the parts that make up the set, including the fact that you have an extra hair and a new face style in the Easter edition, and of course, different patterns. The instructions have been done over. The hairstyle checklist has the new hair. You've got a Google slideshow if you want to download that. And you've got a video tutorial which you can watch, which you will be doing right now, I guess. Again, ignore the Christmas edition. There's your master hairstyle checklist, and that way you can put this at the front of the class. There's 2 different sheets for all the different hairstyles, and then your students can kind of identify with what hairstyle suits theirs the most, put a check on it, and you'll know how many to print. Now, here's your Easter edition activity instructions. Basically, I redid them a little bit more clear. So this is supplies checklist, what you're going to need. It's your basic stuff around class, like a glue stick, scissors. I'm going to attempt to use some fancy border scissors later. We'll see how that goes. You'll need something to color with, pencil crayons, felts, something to write with if you're doing the poem or the gift tags. And that's about it. So it's basic stuff everyone should have. And then you've got the preparation, what you as a teacher needs to do to prepare this activity for your students. And it'll go through what each piece is, because there are 3 options and each option has a different frame. Make sure that you're printing what you want for your class and how many you need. You can follow these steps to know how many things you may want to pre-cut in case your scissors skills are not great with your class. I recommend letting them color the pieces before you pre-cut anything. It's just a little bit easier for them to color. And then you'll need to make sure your students all have the supplies that they're going to need to use on the day of the activity. And last but not least, decide if you're going to use the tutorial video, which if you're watching this, you probably are, and you should be good to go. I got some extra notes here just about how basically when I designed these elements, I put really thick black borders on a lot of the areas you're going to be cutting. That's there, so if they do trim off some of the black, that's okay. And that also means that some of the pieces will have black overlap, and you may just need to shave off a little bit more if your students are very precise cutters. Now, the activity in detail is going to go through step by step, much like this video, and it's going to give you steps in brief, so you can just, once you know what you're doing, check as you go along. Otherwise, the details for every step are aligned here, and it's important that you also know how to assemble each product, and they are assembled different depending which you're doing, the gift tags or the poem, or of course the portrait. I didn't include an example of the gift tags here, but you will have them in your package. Now, these are the poem or gift tag frames. They have the silhouette on the side, and you also have the portrait frames. They are empty in the middle. You're going to have all the different characters. There's 3 different characters. All the characters have glasses and no glasses examples in case your students wear glasses. And I just wanted to show you really quickly, if you print 11 by 17, they look about this big. If you print down to the 8.5 by 11, you're looking at this size. So just so you know and have an idea of what you'll be getting, you'll have 6 different varieties of shirts. I have some that are spring and some that are more Easter. I have a bunch of hand accessories. There's 2 pages worth, and you can pick what kind of hand each student would like to put on their character. I've got optional accessories. These do not necessarily have to belong to your portraits, but they are there if you like them. Some are Easter, some are more spring oriented. And you've got hair. There are 3 pages of hair. I think there's a total of like almost 40 hairstyles. And again, if you like this activity, you may be interested in a bit more Anime Me magic, and you can go to my store to get the desk nameplates that are available. Okay, that concludes the prep. It's time to get on with our activity. So this part of the video will be for students if they want to follow along, and we are going to do one video for the entire coloring and cutting activity, though the pieces will look a little bit different whether you're doing the gift tags and poems or the portraits. For the most part, that coloring and cutting part is similar. And then at the end, after that activity is concluded, I will have 2 different videos for assembling everything together with glue. So make sure your students do all the coloring and cutting as per the instructions or the video, and then save assembly for the end. And depending which version, either again the gift tags and the poem or the portraits, they are assembled different, so follow the correct video for those assemblies. Hey everybody, it's RebeccaDell from RebeccaDell Art, and I have brought you the Anime Me Cartoonize Yourself Easter Edition. So, happy Easter, happy spring. I'm wishing you all things warm and wonderful. And if you are ready to go, we are going to begin the portion that is all the coloring and cutting, which will be the same no matter what product you are making. So, let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is your background piece. Everybody should have a background, whether it's the gift tag, which you can fill in to and from, or it is the portrait, in which there's nothing extra to fill in unless you have the black and white version and want to add color to the background. Or you're going to have the poem in which you need to fill in, and that's the example I'm going to do here. So get your background piece and let's do that together. Now I'm going to fill it in as an example. Let's see what you guys come up with. Mine is going to have the by section being Becca. That's my name. This poem is by me. And then the rest of the poem reads something like this. If I plant some, well, I'm going to write funny jokes because I think that I can sometimes be kind of funny, or at least I hope I can. And will you sprinkle it with, well, if I tell you a joke, I'd kind of hope that you would laugh. So I'm going to put laughter. And together we'll grow. I don't know about you, but when I have a good day, it's a day I can laugh and smile in. So I'm going to say a great day. Fill it in with whatever you like. Some examples of, if I plant some kindness, will you sprinkle it with a smile? And together we'll grow friendship. You can come up with whatever you want. Once the background is complete, you're going to cut along the dashed edges outside of that gray border, just like I'm doing here. Once that's complete, put that to the side. And now what you're going to need is your character piece. This piece will have a big gray area that says attach on it. We're not going to touch that, but instead it's time to color this character's face to look like your own. So hopefully you have the right colors on hand. I'm going to use markers. You can use crayons, pencil crayons, markers. I haven't really tried paint on them yet, but my markers are a watercolor brush paint, so it seems to stand up to that okay. An important thing to note is if they have their mouth open and are showing some teeth, leave that white. In their eyes, there's a couple of just spots that you can leave white. You'll be able to see them in my close-up example. And that will just help the eyes to have that anime quality that's like a sparkle and a shine. I'm just going to go back now and add a little bit of shading. I'm just using my same marker and going over another layer to give some darker areas around the eyes and chin. You can do the same if you have something like a darker color in a pencil crayon or crayon, or if you have a marker, you can layer it that way too. Another piece that you're going to need to make sure matches that skin color is the hand piece. And I don't want you to touch the whole hand piece, just the hand itself. And we're going to color that to match so they're the same. Awesome. Now that that's done, we're going to set that aside and we're going to work on the shirt for your character. It's also really important to note that I didn't want you to touch the sleeve before, but now we can color in the rest of that hand because we want the sleeves to match at a specific part on both the shirt and the arm piece, as you can see here. There are 6 different shirts to choose from. And how much you want to color that in is up to you. There are a lot of little details on some of the shirts. Others, there's a plain one. You can design your own shirt for the season, or there's a striped one that's not too hard to color in. But for the ones with more detail, you can decide how much to color, and I'm just going to do that really quickly for my character. There are some spring ones and Easter in case you do not want an Easter one. That's all right too. Don't forget, it's time to color in any accessories that your character might be holding in their hand. So you can do that as well. Bubbles are a little tricky, so I'm just using light colors. I'm even using some dried out markers to kind of just give a light hint of color on the bubbles so they're not solid. You can do whatever you like. Now that you have all of these pieces, you can cut these ones out. So you're going to cut out the hand with the accessory, or maybe it doesn't have an accessory. Some of them are like peace signs and thumbs up. And you're going to cut out the sweater and the character. Don't worry too much if you slice off some of the black. I've done thicker black lines on the outside of all these pieces so that you can trim that off a little bit and kind of cut down the middle of the black. That's totally fine. And if you make a mistake and you chop a piece in 2, well, the good news is we're gluing it all onto a base, so you can just repair it when you glue it and you won't even notice that it got chopped. Take your time though, don't rush through this, and they will look great. All right, once you're done, you should be able to see what this is going to look like when we go to assemble and glue things together, but we're not going to do that yet. Now what we're going to do is color our hairstyle, which should match your own hair for the most part, as in style, and also the colors you're going to pick to do your hair. Just to add some texture to this hair, I'm going to use a couple of different colors. You'll see that I'm going to leave some white space, and also you can always go back in with a darker color to put some shadow as well. And if you are doing the optional accessory, which will go on the head, you can also color that now. Just like before, once these 2 pieces are all colored, we're going to cut them out. And cutting out these small accessory pieces as well as some of the strands on the hair is a little tricky, especially if you have really big scissors like I do. Hopefully you guys have smaller scissors. Just take your time. There's a lot of thick black lines on the strands of hair that should help you just kind of triangle them out. You make a little triangle to snip them out and then pull off the triangle if it's still attached. And yeah, just take your time and do things carefully. And remember, we can always patch it all back together with glue later if you do accidentally slice something through. Once your hair and any optional accessory is complete, and you can see how that might look, you're going to set that aside. And now what we're going to do is prepare the frame that will go over the background that we've already completed. Make sure that the frame you are about to color in is going to be the right one to match the background that you have. So there's a different frame for poems and gift tags than there is for a portrait. So make sure you have the right one. The poems and gift tags frame has a gray silhouette on the side because the character goes over the frame. Whereas with the portrait, the frame goes over the character, and so there's no gray silhouette on that. So you're gonna color your frame the way you wish. Remember not to color the area that says cut out. You will be getting rid of it, so there's no point to. Do as many details as you are comfortable in whatever medium that you're using. I'm using my watercolor markers again, and so I can move pretty quickly just because they have a brush shape on them. So I'm going to use some of my dried out markers again just to put some light colors on the clouds so they stand out from the other blues. It's a great way to use up some not so great tools that you have. I'm just going to finish this up, and then once it's all complete, we will cut this out, and I will show you how to cut this out, including the middle section, which can be a little bit tricky. So I decided to try some fancy scissors that give a nice border to paper and realized that was a mistake. So I made a mistake, and I'm going to fix that with regular scissors. I recommend you just do regular scissors. Now that my mistake has been fixed, I'm going to show you how to cut out the middle section so that we can see our poem or our portrait or our gift tag through the frame. So what I always do is gently fold so it's bent, not so there's a crease, my frame, and then I put a little snip with my scissors through the very middle. And that provides a hole that I can then cut through to the inside of the frame and cut that section that says cut out so that it's no longer there. Take your time cutting around the elements of the frame. Don't forget to leave that gray silhouette. You're going to need that to attach your character to. And there's just a few pieces that stick out that you just want to make sure you keep. It just makes the frame look a little more special than a rectangle. Okay, guess what? We are complete as far as coloring and cutting goes. We have all of our pieces. So what I'm going to do is break down the next step, which is the assembly step, into two different videos, because how you assemble the portraits versus how you assemble the gift tags or poem are different. So please make sure that you watch the right video for the right assembly instructions. So for the poems and gift tag assembly, we are going to start with our background, which should already be written and filled out. Then what you're going to need is your frame. You're going to take glue and run it along the attach guide of the background so that you can press on your frame. My glue stick isn't great, so it takes me a little bit. Hopefully yours isn't dried out like mine. And once that's securely attached, we can move on to the next step. setting the background and frame aside, you're going to take all the pieces that make up your character, and starting with the character itself, you are going to put glue on the area that is gray and says attach. Make sure you get glue on the arm piece as well. Then you're going to be able to press the shirt onto that attach guide securely. Next comes the hair, unless you don't have any. And you're going to use the top of the forehead and like the bald part of the head to put a bunch of glue to attach that hairstyle. Some of the longer hairstyles, you'll also want to add glue underneath that hairstyle to attach to places like the shoulder. Now we're going to attach the arm. And it'll go right on that gray attach area that the shirt has. And you're going to want to fix that securely. We're almost at the end. Now we're going to put glue on the frame, on that gray attach area that is on the frame. Put lots of glue and then attach your character over top of that. And the reason we leave that head accessory for last is because some pieces are bigger and may stick over the frame a little bit. So that is the last and final piece. And because it is small, I put it upside down on a piece of white paper just so I can smear the whole back side with glue and then fasten it to my character's head. One last final little touch for this girl. I wanted to give her rosier lips and cheeks. So I'm just adding with a dried out marker a little bit more color. And voila, we have completed the assembly of the poem or gift tag version, and they should look great. But for those of you who are doing the portrait assembly, join me for the last video and we will put that together now. All right, let's get started. The first thing that you are going to need for portrait assembly is the background. So this part is similar to the other tags. Now you're going to need to stick on the character first, not the frame. So you're going to put glue on the attach area and attach the character. Once that is stuck and good, you're going to take the shirt, and now we're going to put glue on the attach area on the character so we can glue down the shirt and fix it on top of that. Now it's time to glue the hair to the character. So what you want to do is put glue on the top of the head, like the bald spot of the head, unless you have no hair, and you're going to fix that onto it. With small pieces, I always like to turn it upside down on another blank piece of paper or spare piece of paper and put glue all over the back, and then it peels off like a sticker and I can stick it onto the area I need to. Next comes the hand accessory, and I'm going to attach that to the gray area on the shirt, and that's done the same way. We're down to our last couple of pieces, but put off to the side that optional head accessory, just in case that accessory will go over the frame. We're going to glue the frame on, and you're going to put glue on the gray attach area around the border to do that. And once that's complete and stuck on, you're down to the final piece, which is the head accessory. So we can put some glue on the back of it and stick it down on top of the character. In the case that accessory doesn't quite fit over hair, you can peel up the hair a little bit and just trim off some excess. And if it sticks out, that's fine too. They still look adorable. And guess what? It is voila time. And you have completed your Anime Me Cartoonize Yourself Easter Edition craft. I hope you really enjoyed yourself. It was great getting to color, cut, and glue with you. Please let me know what you thought of this product. Please follow my store or send me a like. Just let me know how you felt about it. That would let me understand how to make products in the future as well. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye. Happy Easter. Happy spring.